to group people and pick out what we want to be in this show.
A lot of my photos are, I'm just trying to get to a point where I can show the love I feel from these basic strangers.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch and row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumble.
But I also have been keeping little notebooks of things that I find on the farm. So this is one that I started in June, and I found a lot of moth wings. So I made these pages with moth wings.
Yeah, I feel like artists and farmers have a lot in common.
I'm still working on it. Here's the other ones. But they may become part of some kind of orb.
Listen the cows, show them in the barn, put them in the center, turn the radio on. Let them all try, turn them out in the ring, when all the dairy woman check on me. Get up, you cows, get them on the move. The udders are swinging like water in balloons. Get them up to the barn and they know their place. Lead one first and close the gate. I bring the cart around and give them all some feed. They lick their nose and clap their ears at me. Bring the cart around and give them all some feed.
You do something and it looks beautiful for a very short period of time. It's kind of nice to have it captured, I guess. It's landscape. It's kind of what we do. We make the landscape.
I think what I'm going to be doing is a large puzzle. And each unit will have an image on it, and the whole puzzle altogether will cover tabletop. Here are the images that I'm picking out. There are still some that haven't been assigned places, and each one of these is an individual puzzle. And different people can work at the puzzle at different times.
I have a 18-member CSA. A lot of it's my coworkers in Thomaston at the school and family members and people in the local area. We do a weekly drop-off. People either get a half share or a full share.
It allows us to stop and take a moment to really see and appreciate what we're doing here. For example, we just got to stop and watch the chickens, and we caught a chicken laying a blue egg.
So I like taking pictures of the animals, and sort of my work is sort of sparse at this point. It's very muted colors, very pale, and that's what I've been working with. The colors that you see in the image are not the colors you're going to get when you print it, so you don't know what you're going to get. If I take a picture of these sheep, by the time I'm done with it, you'll know they're sheep, but they won't be in that. They'll be by themselves. There won't be a lot of clutter in the background. The grasses will be gone. It'll be just mostly the sheep or the pigs or the chickens. For instance, I've got a thing about this big of eggs. And there's 3 eggs in what was nesting material, and the eggs are very pale and the nesting material is very pale, and then there's a stripe of medium gray and a darker stripe and a white stripe up the top. It's very abstract looking. You can tell they're eggs, but just barely.
Well, I start my day in the sun up dark, going down the lane to get my cows up. I got a Holstein Jersey and a one-eyed steer. Old brown cow jump fences like a deer. Dews on the ground and the feet are wet. I got a light in my hand, hanging on my head. Down to the pasture to get my herd. The chewing on the cud and looking at the bird.
I had this idea that I wanted to shoot the arrival of the truck at the farmer's market day and the unpacking of everything as a stop motion animation. Or I'm going to make a stop motion animation out of it. Start with photographs. They're so connected, you know, and I feel like I'm kind of connected, but going into a project like this, you learn that there's just so much to learn, and they are so amazing and so dedicated, and their craft is so wholly within their body and their everyday life. I mean, they live it every single minute. They are the farm, and they are growing things, which is miraculous, and and just connected to the very essence of what the earth is and the human experience too. So it's just I think that body of knowledge is, I sort of feel like most people that exist on the earth today just have no clue about it, but but it's so incredibly valued to the continuance of our species. So I'm really glad to have been able to like just enter and scratch the surface of some of that knowledge and understand it in a more deep, in a more connected way.
Trying to figure out who the people are on the farm and visiting the farm and what they are. Been doing a lot of work with bees, but you know what I mean, they're working, they have things to do. So like I've been working them into bees and bee houses, and the people that come to the farm are unique. You know, the type of people that join a CSA are certain type of people. Who are they and how they relate to the farm physically.
The people that work there forget that you're there, and they start talking about their personal life, and things that are going on in their life. So this is about a couple that work on the farm.
Not the one that pitchforked you.
What's that? Yes, the one that pitchforked me. But not really. I mean, you know, I dramatize everything.
Craig, I brought you some paper.
You made that?
Cattails.
From here?
From here, from your cattails.
Awesome. Wow. It's like parchment paper.
Cook it down with some soda ash, and that softens the fibers and also takes out the cellulose, and you rinse and rinse and rinse. And then you beat it, and you can beat it by hand, you can beat it in a blender if you're doing it homemade paper making, or you can do it in a beater. I photograph every time I come out, so I can see the changes in the farm and the light, try to come at different weather times. But when I first came, it was frozen. After visits, I started to add in color for symbolic reasons, like yellow for the daffodils I saw in the spring, the ochre of the fields, the brown of the earth. For me, the focus is all about land, what comes from the land, how we treat the land. What you should know about Craig is hospitality. The food bank in town in Winthrop closed. And what did you do about that, Craig?
Opened up the farm stand at the side of the road to give out free food to anybody who needed it. And then when the hot meal kitchen closed last year, we did the same thing with the hot meals. We cooked out of our kitchen and handed out meals to people who came to get food. Both things have reopened, but we still do hot meals when we feel like it, and we always have free food out during harvest season. I feel like this farm is a piece of my creation, you know. I try to make it beautiful. I try to plant things and make little installations the way I do my beams and stuff, so that when people walk through, they feel like they're seeing an art installation. My neighbor drives by and she says that it looks like a work of art. And then I had another guy tell me that I was a folk artist because of the way I plant my fields across the street. So
He plants and designs.
yeah,
They curve.
They curve and yeah, exactly. And you think of barriers, and then you think of sunflowers that are going to be here and echinacea that are going to be here and going to bloom a little bit later, and then you have hyssop in front of it, and you try to create these layers of color and texture. So I don't have too many friends that are outright artists, and so it's always nice to meet people that are actually doing work and displaying it, because I love art. It is the role of the artist to tell us who we are.
The farm family that I'm working with is a family I've lived with for a long time. I don't live with them right now, but I was their first apprentice a long time ago. It's a family I'm very close with. And I'm also farming. I farm full-time myself on a farm of a very different nature than their farm. And so I find when I go to their farm, it's kind of like a break. I'm working on a series of cutouts of their dining room table that holds a lot of meaning to me for all the things that have happened around that table. Anyway, I'm really enjoying working on these images, but I would love to be able to turn them into a little more humble and distributable pieces as opposed to fragile paper ones. But that's what I've been working on. The printers that I apprenticed with that taught me how to turn my cutouts into prints helped me. We worked on it together, so yeah, it worked out really well.
Well, here we used to be a dairy operation. We went very much into the meats. I mean, we have some beef cattle, pigs, the meat birds, laying birds. We do turkeys. We have customers that they pay. Every 2 weeks we send out a blast email, tell them what we have available, and they can order from that, and we just deduct it from their balance. Felt it might be a interesting way for somebody else's perspective as to what we do and how they might see it. Yeah, he's been out 3 or 4 times, and what little bit of work I have seen of his is very interesting. His expressionism, I guess, is the best way for me to put it, how he expresses it and uses what he uses for a medium.
This was working with the colors from the chickens on the farm. And I had all this material that I'd taken from the farm, the bucket and the wagon, the metal siding, and I decided to do the chicken on there, like a bucket of chicken. The body of a wagon, the old radio flyer, red wagon, and I just did the name of the farm. This is my piece representing the colors of all the different cows on the farm, you know, mostly black and white, and some tan and brown and pink. It's my piece about the pigs on the farm. I did it like, I'm just working with the colors of the different animals. You know, these are feed bags from the farm. They have piles and piles of empty feed bags, and it's such an important aspect of the farm. I heard about this project through the Harlow, and I grew up around a lot of the farms in Whitefield. Knew a lot of those people. I thought it'd be cool challenge to adapt my art to that.
To know the work and what they were doing, it became a much bigger thing, and then I wanted it to be more something coming from the heart, something that, you know, generated from a deeper area, kind of interest. You know, I wanted people to get the understanding of how hard they work and how important it is to know our food and to, you know, to just be aware.
I'm Emily Trenholm, and I'm working with Fresh Start Farms in Lisbon, Maine. I have been working on a series of quilts and paintings from the farm, painting on location and then sketching as well, and then working from those sketches back at the house to create colorful fabric quilts. So it's been an exciting process, and the farmers there are really amazing people. So it's an inspiring place to work.
Well, we love welcoming different people to the farm. We bring in apprentices and volunteers and customers all the time, and what we value pretty highly about those visits is that we gain new perspective anytime somebody new comes, and the artist perspective is particularly valuable. We're here all day, every day, working really hard, so it's nice to have an outside perspective, and I think the artist perspective in particular is a valuable one in appreciating elements of the farm that we don't necessarily see. You know, we're thinking about soil biology and selling tomatoes, and if he's thinking about, you know, shapes of vegetables and the composition of color, that's adding something that we don't necessarily have.
Part of an exploration in terms of working out some ideas about a particular technique of fermentation called kimchi, and one of the farmers, Brendan McQuillan, he got a book during Christmas or something like that. It was all about kimchi. And within the book, there's all kinds of reference to the village, kind of the village potter, in terms of how they would produce these particular jars. And they're relatively common in Korea. So this was part of the historical research part of the project, where I've been kind of diving in just to examine some of the historical forms, but also trying to find a way to contemporize them a little bit. And so these are just some kind of preliminary pieces in that way, with the intention that we'll work on a variety of scales. But these will be able to be used. So the intention anyway is to cooperate with the farm, to take produce off the farm, and we'll create some kimchi, and maybe that'll be part of the offerings at the reception or something like that, or we'll have some of that simmering away during the course of the exhibition or something like that, just as part of the kind of farm in process. A lot of what I've talked with Brendan and Brady about, and some of what I came into the project with, was the idea of doing this idea of just kind of farm to table. What does that look like?
I run the old mill over there to Rubensville. My name's Joshua Ebenezer Fry. I knows a thing or two, you can bet your boots I do. You won't catch me because I'm too darn sly. Once I met some bunker men, I always get the best of them. Once I met a couple on the Boston train. They says, how are you? I says, that'll do. Run right along with your own skin game. Well, it's one I must be getting on. Getting up the pony and it looks like rain. I'll be darned, but I ain't turned. So come in when you're open to the farm again.
I take pictures, and then I gotta look back at the photographs and see which one I want to paint, and see what they look like, and give me ideas.
I'm very interested in all the different structures of a farm, and I think it tells a story a lot about the farm and when each structure was built, what it was originally built for, and then what eventually it became, and how it stands today, and what their plans are in the future for it. It was raining for like 2 weeks straight, and so I was talking to Karen about just being upset that I couldn't come here. And so I went back to the studio and just started drawing and painting what I remembered seeing from the month before, and that kind of came to be kind of the theme of what I've been working on.
I think that artists are an integral part of the Maine community, so it's really beneficial to have folks, integrating into something that's a community-based concept. We see art every day, we eat food every day. It's kind of a similar situation. And like I say about farms, you don't know how much you like them until you miss them. Same thing with artists. So that's my opinion about artists on the farm.